Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we'll be showing you how you can make a very simple navigation menu with CSS style and of course with JavaScript. Okay, so this is the project that we'll be working on today. Nothing fancy, but I think it's a good practice project. So I have on my left hand side the brand name, or you can change this with your logo or an image if you like, and then some menu items. And you can see if I hover over it, it does have some animation effects. Okay, now what we did with JavaScript is when we go to a mobile view, you see that the menu items is now converted into a menu bar. Now if it's clickable, so if I click on here, then the menu comes from the right hand side with the animation aspect. Okay, like I said, it's nothing fancy, but it is something, it's a good practice project if you're new to web development. Okay, I'm going to keep this on my 5500 local host right now because I'm using this one as with my live server. So I'm going to keep that, and this is the folder, and I'm going to first go ahead and include index HTML. Okay, and then I'm going to do exclamation emit abbreviation. So if I tab, it's going to give me a boilerplate, okay, in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to change the title here. I'm going to say navigation menu with JS. All right, I will also create the styles CSS file right here, and let's link my CSS file right here like so. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to so I have an extension called live server, so you can just go to an extension and search for live server, and this is the server, this is the extension that I have, okay, which allows me to spin up a local server which will show up, so I don't have to save and refresh each time in the browser. Okay, I already have this, so I'm going to go here, right click and open with live server, and there you are. This is my website. Right now I don't have anything because I didn't put anything here. So what I'm going to do, the first thing, I'm going to open up a nav element. Okay, within that nav element, I'm going to go ahead and do h1, and I will have a h1 class. Let me make this code a little bit bigger so you can see. So in that h1, I will have a class, name it brand. I'm gonna say brand. Okay, you can see without saving and refreshing, well, I had to save the Visual Studio, but without refreshing it shows up right here. Okay, quite handy feature. I'm gonna have unordered list, and here I'll have a list item, and inside the list item I also have an anchor tag. Okay, the anchor tag will not go anywhere as of right now, so we'll have like a dead link, which is going to be just a hash or pound, and within that I will put about, and I'm going to copy it two more times, and I will change this to, let's say, projects, and I'll say contact. Okay, if I save this, you can see right now I have my unordered list showed up right here. And that's pretty much what we're going to do right now. Let's go ahead into our styles. And the first thing what we're going to do is I'm going to put star and open up curly braces. Now the star actually, it's kind of like a body tag, selecting a body tag. Star is selecting everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset, because in the browser right now, it has some default style, default margin and padding attached with it, and I don't want anything to attach by default. Every margin or padding, I want to set it up myself. So that's why what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the margin for the whole document to 0. Okay, you see there's a change immediately, and then I'm also going to do a padding up to 0. And another option that I have to do is box sizing and box sizing, and that would be border box. Okay, box sizing border box, so that it doesn't give me some weird styling or anything like that. So that's pretty much my regular resets. Okay, then I am going to select my nav. Okay, open curly braces, And in that nav, I'm going to do display flex, because right now it is on a block element, so brand is basically taking the whole width of the page, and underneath that the list also showing up in a column, like, you know, like a one column, right? So I want this one brand and this is to be in one line side by side. So I can do that with an if I call display flex on the parent element. If I go back to index HTML, you can see that the UL is a children element of the parent element of nav. Okay, so nav is the parent element in this case, and then its children's are h1 and ul. Okay, all right. So nav display flex, and if I save this, you see that immediately it changed. It went to side by side. Now now it's, you know, very close. I want some space between it, and for that reason, I'm going to say justify content. Okay, and I'm going to use space between. Okay, and then if I save this, now you can see that it's giving, or display flex giving all the space in between these two elements right here. Okay, I also want this one to be vertically aligned, vertically centered, so I'm going to do align items, and I'm going to say center. That would have this both vertically centered with each other. Okay, all right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to work on the brand here. So I gave the brand a brand class name. As you can see, if I go back to index, I had a h1, but I also gave a class of brand. Okay, so I will select that brand using dot and brand. That means it's a class. And what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to give a little bit of margin to the left. Okay, because it's up against that very corner right now. Okay, so I'm going to do margin. I'm going to do margin left. Let's do 2 rem. Okay, and that's going to give a little bit of space to the left. All right, I am also going to do the same thing to the UL right here. So I can just select UL, because right now in my index I have only one UL. Usually if I have more UL or LI, I always work with classes. Like I will give a class to the UL and then select the class. But since I am, for this example, I have only one UL in my document, I can just select UL right here. So what I'm going to do is I also want to have some space to the right of the element right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do margin right, and the same measurement right here too. And you can see there's a little bit of space right there as well. All right, now this is right now looking as a block item. Okay, I want it to be side by side. All right, so for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select UL and then LI because I want to select all the list item. And here I want to say display inline. Okay, and you can see now it appears side by side. All right, I also want to add some padding. And the padding also I'm going to do 2 rem, and so that there's a padding so it's not squished all together. Okay, brand here, I want to make this, right now it is all lowercase. I want to make all this with the text transform, and if I say uppercase, then it is going to make the brand all uppercase. Okay, also what I want to do here is I want to right now select LIA. Okay, and I want to select right now, because of it's an anchor tag, it's giving me an underline, and also it is a blue color, and I don't want this to be a blue color. So first I'm going to change the color to black. Okay, save, and you can see that's black. I'm going to say text decoration, and I'm going to say text decoration to none. All right, so I don't want the underline underneath it, so I'm going to save this. Look at that, no underline right there. Okay, and right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger, so I'm going to do 1.2 rem. Okay, that looks good. All right, so I am going to go back to my nav here. And this is what I'm going to do right now. If I go and open up a body selector, and if I do a height of 200 view height, okay? Because I want to introduce a scroll bar just for this example right here. So right now, if you see that if I scroll down, the menu is gone. Menu is vanishing on top. It's not sticking. So I want the menu to stick to the page regardless of the scroll, okay? And I can do that using position, and I want to do position sticky. With the position sticky, I also have to mention, give another a reference point where it's going to stick to. So I'm going to say top 0. Okay, so that means top 0 means it should stick to the top, very top of the viewport. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and now if I scroll, you can see that it's not moving at all. It's always going to be visible. Okay, so if you add more section, div, or content on your web page, your menu will always be visible. Okay, example here, I have a background image. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to add a background image, and I'm going to add the background image to the body. All right, I'm going to go back to the body and make it 100 view height, and there I'm going to add a background image. Background image, I'm gonna do URL, and here I open quotation, and I do have the same image here, so let me go ahead and just select that. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and copy paste, save this, and you can see the image right now shows up. Now you can also see the image is now repeated. Okay, now let's go ahead and fix that. I'm gonna say background, and you see there's an option called background repeat, and I'm gonna say no repeat. Save. Now it's gone. Now it's also not taking the whole view height. To do that, what I have to do is I'm gonna say background size, and I'm gonna say cover. Save. Now it's taking the whole page, okay, whole viewport. So now it looks like just like what we have before, okay, as an example. All right, so that's the background. Okay, all right, so next up, let's work on the menu itself, where I can hover over it and it's gonna give me a line underneath, okay, with some animation. So what I'm going to do underneath this, I'm gonna have LIA, and this is called after. Okay, with this after, I'm going to have, so I can add something after this each anchor tag in the list item. Okay, so what I want to add, first of all, I'm going to say content. So what should be the content right now? The content should be empty right now because I'm going to give it a background colors. It kind of work as like a div. So div does not need a content, but still you can give it like a background color with its width and height. This is what I mean. So same concept here. Content would be empty, but what we're gonna say first is I'm gonna position it absolute. Okay. In order to work this, it has to have a position absolute. I'm going to say width of 100%. Okay, width of 100%. I'm going to say height. I'm going to say height 2 pixels. All right, let's do 2 pixels height. I'm going to say background color, and I'm going to say black. At this time, so you can see there it is. Okay, it's a line. It's not giving me a separate line, but it's giving me a line on top. Okay, first I want this line to be separated by each list anchor. Okay, so in order to do this, since I have a position absolute here, I can also have a position relative on list anchor, and now you can see that each line is separated. Okay, for about projects and content, but still it's not on the right place. To do that, first of all, I want this one to be at the bottom. So what I have to do is I'm going to have to call bottom. I'm going to say bottom is 0. That means I want absolute bottom. Okay, so save, and you can see now it's at the bottom. And I also want, so it's at the right side of the anchor tag. So that means I'll have to say left 0. Now there it is. Okay, now it is positioned correctly. Okay, now this is too close to my about. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to have in the list a little bit of padding. I'm going to say 0.5 rem top and bottom. and 0 left and right. So there you go. So you have a little bit of space. Okay. Also, I want to add right now is transform. Transform, I want to say scale X because I want to make it like horizontally. Okay, so if I do 1, you don't see any difference, but if I do 0, you see there's nothing. Okay, so I want it to start from center and then grow. Okay, so I'm gonna say transform scale X 0 first. All right, now I'm going to add the hover effect because without the hover, I don't want to have anything underneath. But once I hover over it, I want that line to appear. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to just copy this. And so list A. So after that, colon, and I'm going to say hover, and then I'm going to add the after, and then open curly braces. Here, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. So transform scale as 0 to 1. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to save this, and you can see now if I hover over it, the line shows up. But the line shows up pretty quick. So I want to add some transition effect to it, so it doesn't appears like so very quickly. I want to see how it's appearing. Okay, so I'm going to see transition. And what I want to transition, I want to transition transform and 0.3 second, and I'm going to have an ease. Okay, save this, and if I hover it over right now, you can see now the line is starting from center, and then it's increasing to the 100% width. Okay, now I like this. Okay, but if you want to experiment with this, you can. One thing you can do here is if you add transform origin, and if you do a left, okay, all it's basically saying from where the line will start. So if I click here right now, you see that it starts from, instead of center, it starts from the left, because I specifically mentioned that transform origin should be left. You can also do, instead of left, right, so save, and if you hover over it, you see that the line is actually coming from the right. So it's up to you, it's up to your taste. So I like it from the center, so that's what I'm going to keep. All right, so that's the animation. It's pretty sweet, pretty easy, not too work. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on, so if I make it smaller, the size, okay, because we're gonna try to make it responsive, you can see that it gets squished and squished, and now it kind of break after one point. Okay, still have my menu items, but what if I have lots of menu items? Then it's actually going to be jumbled, okay, together. So we want to make sure that for the mobile view, we have some other sort of menu system, just like our example, like this. Okay, all right, let's do this. I'm gonna go back to my index, and within the nav, under UL, I'm also going to have a div with a class of MenuBar. Okay, and I'm not going to put anything in there because I'm going to style it with CSS, the MenuBar, but the div class is there. Okay, I'm going to go back to my style, and after this, I'm going to select MenuBar. And here I'm going to say width, let's say 3 rem, and height, let's say I'm going to do 0.5 rem. And after that, I'm going to say background color, I'm going to say black. All right, save. You can see it shows up right there. Okay, and I'm going to do a cursor pointer. Okay, so it should be clickable. So if you see, if I hover over it, it's now clickable. Okay, all right, so that works. But when I am on a regular web, I mean like on a desktop, I don't want this bar to show. Okay, for that reason, I'm gonna say display none. Okay, I only want to show the bar when I am in a mobile view. Okay, right around there or something. Okay. All right, so let's work on our mobile view. I'm gonna say media, that's the media query. Okay, and open up parentheses, and I'm gonna say max dash width and 765 pixel. That means anything under 765 pixels. So max width is 765. You can only go up to 765 pixel. Anything under 765 pixel, you will have these styles that I am going to specify right here. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is, you know that we have a nav where it's a display is a flex. Okay. Now flex, what flex does by itself by default is put elements side by side. Now in this case, I want kind of like a display block. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Is first of all, I'm going to say ULLI, and that needs to be display block. You can see now display is block. Okay. Now this is also affecting our brand. Now let's go ahead and fix that. So first, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say nav, and here I'm going to say flex direction. I'm going to say column. Okay, now everything is under column. Here I'm going to say nav brand. So I'm going to select nav brand, and I'm going to do a position absolute. Okay, and I'm going to say left 0, because I want this not on the center, but I want this. When you specify position absolute, that will take this brand out of this flow. Okay, out of this flow, and you can basically move the brand anywhere on the page once it's have a position absolute. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm just taking the brand out of this flow, and then I'm specifying the left should be 0. So hey, push the brand to the left. Okay. And then I am going to select UL itself, because this one also needs to be on the right side. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say position absolute. Okay. And right this time, I'm going to say 0. Now there it is. Okay. All right. So I also want to have a background color. And I want to do RGBA, actually RGB, or I can just say black here, because I want pure black. Black. You can see the menu items right now, because the menu items colors are black as well. But we're going to fix that later. What I also want to do is I want to have a border radius, and I'll just do up 5 pixel. So it's a little bit rounded. Okay. And then I am going to put all this. Before I do that, let's have the list menu color white, so at least I can see. Okay. Now you can see if I hover over it, the lines I'm not showing because lines are also black. So let's fix that as well. So I'm going to do list A after background color. Let's do this white, and now it's showing. Very cool. Now I don't want this on right here. I want this off the page. I want this the menu bar. When I click on the menu bar, then it should appear. Okay, to do that, the UL, I'm going to go ahead and say transform translate X, and I'm going to do like a ridiculous number, like a 1000 pixel. Okay, and you can see what's happening. You cannot see that anymore, but if you scroll, it gave you a scroll bar. So if you scroll here on the horizontal, you can see it's right over here. Okay, and that's where we want it to be. I want it to be all, off the page, and then when I click on the menu bar, it's gonna come in. Okay, we're gonna fix that. This one, I don't want the scroll bar to appear here as well, but we're gonna fix that later. Okay, so what we're gonna do, so you can see that we are still not seeing the menu bar, so let's go ahead and work on that. So I'm gonna say menu bar and display on one block. Now you can see that it's showing up, not in the right place, but it is showing up. So I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to have a position absolute on this, so I can position it, place it on the right place. And I'm going to say right 0 because that's where I want. And you see that it's way up there, very right, very top. All right. So I also want to do margin right about 2 rem. Okay, while I'm here, I think I can do also margin top because it's look like way up there, maybe 0.5. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so it's right now. So if you see, if I make the website larger, our regular menu item shows up, but if I make it anything under 765 pixel, the bar now shows up. It's still clickable. It's not doing anything because we didn't add the JavaScript yet, but it's right there. It's okay. And then here's our menu. Okay, let's work on now how we can add the menu bar so that it's going to be clickable and it's going to do this animation. It's going to move, rotate, everything. Okay. So to do that, okay, now what we're going to do here is I'm going to create 2 classes that we can attach these 2 classes to our index HTML elements via JavaScript. To do that, first what we have to do is I have to click on create a class called open, and that's going to be for the menu itself. All right, so right now the menu is you can see the menu itself right now is at translate x 1000 pixels, so off the page right now, okay, to 1000. So it's a plus, that means it's going to right. Okay, if it's negative, it's going to go to left. Okay. So for that open, when it's open, I want that transform translate x to 0. I want that one too. Like if I do here, instead of 1000 pixel, if I do 0 right here, you can see it shows up. Okay, and that's what I want. That's what I want with this class. Excuse me. So, but initially I want this one off the page. Okay, so open transform translate x 0. All right, so just to give you another example, if I go to index and if I do here class open, save, you can see that it shows up right here. And that's what we're going to do. Instead of manually attaching the class to UL, I'm going to attach this class using JavaScript. All right, so the second one is going to be open menu bar. Open menu bar. That would deal with the menu bar itself. It's rotation. So if here you can see, like if I click on here, it gets rotated. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right here. So for the rotation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say transform rotate, and I'm going to say 90 degree. All right, save this, and you can see right here as well, if I add open menu bar, I think that's what I call it, and you can see that it is now 90 degree rotated. Okay. Right, so let's go ahead and make the JavaScript file. So what I'm going to do here with this, I'm going to create another file. I'm going to call it app.js. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and add this script. It's going to be at the very bottom of your body, close to your closing body tag. I'm going to say script with the source name is app.js. Okay, just to see if it's working, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to save this. And I'm going to do alert, quotation, I'm going to say working, save, and you see that it is giving me an alert right now. It's working. So JavaScript is connected with my HTML. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the element that I want to add JavaScript to. Add this open class to this UL. So let's grab this UL with JavaScript. And this is how you're going to do this. You're going to do const. Okay, that's basically a variable. All right, so const, I'm gonna call this NavList, okay, equal So this is the variable I'm creating right now. You can call this whatever you want. And what is this variable going to have? It's going to have, so I'm going to say document, because I want to go to the index folder, HTML folder, which is a document, right? Document dot, I'm going to say query selector. This is a pretty good way to select your elements or classes or anything. So query selector, open a parentheses, and within that, I'm going to open a quotation, and here I'm going to say nav and then ul, okay? So that's basically what I'm saying. Go to the document, and in the document, they're going to be select nav, and then underneath that nav, select the UL. Okay, that's what I'm basically saying here. The second one is going to be another variable I'm going to create, and I'm going to say menu bar, and that's because I want to have a click event on this one. Okay, so it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to copy and paste it. So document.query selector, and instead of this, I actually do have a class attached with this, with the div, which is this menu bar, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to write that class name. I'm going to say dot menu bar, just like CSS. Okay, it's just going to have to be in quotation. All right, so let's test this. So menu bar, that is going to be this line right here, menu bar, and I'm going to say menu bar dot add event listener. Add event listener is add a click event. So these are called events. So it could be a click event, a mouse in, mouse over event, and something like that. So I want a click event, all right? So that it's going to be clickable. So I'm going to open parentheses, quotation. I'm going to specify what kind of event I want. I want a click event, okay? And then after that, I'm going to say comma. So we're going to create a function, okay? Parentheses and then curly braces. In here, the first thing what I'm going to do, I'm just going to check if it's working. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, alert and quotation. I'm going to say working, save this, and go back to my page. And if I click, you see that it's giving me the alert. That means it is working. So what I want is, with that click, I want this UL that I grabbed from here, so NavList. So I'm going to say NavList, okay, dot, I'm going to say class list. That means I'm going to add a class list, okay? So class list dot, I'm going to say toggle, because I just don't want to like add it, but I can, because you can actually do add. Okay, what it's going to do is add the class to the element, but that's it. It's going to stay as a 90-degree angle. But I want it to toggle this. So every time I click, it's going to take the class. It's going to add the class, but also if I click it again, it's going to take out the class. So it's going to go back to its horizontal position right now. Okay, so I'm going to say toggle, and in here, open a parenthesis, and I'm going to open a quotation, and I'm going to name the class that I want to add it to. Okay. All right, save this. Let's see if it works. There you go. You can see it, but you can actually see that menu is right now, it's adding up. Okay, so right now I'm doing NavList class-list toggle, which is opening this one. And if you can see it right now, because we didn't change the color yet, but look at that. Okay, to change the color, let's do something here. Let's which is 1 pixel solid white. Okay. All right, so let's then add to itself, like click here and then add the class to itself. So menu bar right here. Since I have a function, I can actually use this keyword, and I'm going to do the same thing. This means that add the class to the same menu bar right here. And then I'm going to say class list dot, I'm going to do the same thing, toggle, and then I'll have this. That would make it, look at that. See, now it is, you can see because I added the border right there, so you can see that it's working perfectly. Okay, now it is too fast, so let's add some transition. Let's add some transition right here. Okay, and then transition would be, what do I I want to transition to transform. I want to do 1 second. I want to do ease. Okay, and I want to do the same thing with the menu bar as well. So if I save this, Now if I close and open, it takes a little bit time. Okay, now also you see that the scroll bar is happening, so I can fix that if I go to the body and do overflow X, because that's the X horizontal, and if I say hidden, now you can see there is nothing. Okay, now it can do close and open like so. So there you are, guys. This is the project. As you can see, if you can make it bigger, it's gonna give you some elements with an animation, and if you make it smaller, it's gonna give you that bar which is clickable, and you have your menu right there. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, press the like button. Let me know if you have any question. If you are brand new to web development, then I do have a web development series playlist in my channel where I actually explain everything: what is HTML, what is tags, elements, and also what CSS is, CSS selectors, everything in detail. So if you're interested, check that playlist out. But if you enjoyed this, let me know, and I will come back with another video where you can make the same effect without JavaScript at all. You can do that all in CSS. But as you can see, we didn't really delve into too much of JavaScript. It was pretty easy. Okay. All right. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.